Good morning, good morning. Oh, excuse me. You heard that? Duh. Good, good evening, good night, all that good stuff. Hello, everybody. This is Spirit Journey. Today is Friday, good old Friday, February 18th, 2022, and the time is now 9:53 p.m. And yes, the beautiful skyline of Manhattan. Good evening, folks. Hello there, viewer. Yes, I welcome you to the chat room. What a beautiful evening this is. What an interesting day I had. It was cold in the city, boy. Yeah, at first, when I looked on my app this morning, it said 51 degrees Fahrenheit, but it quickly dropped and it was chilly, boy. Yeah, I did dress in layers. Yeah, I was gonna walk to the village. I say, let me go home. Yeah. So, bought me some brunch and was satisfied. Yes, I indulged today. I indulged and it was wonderful. And I still have leftovers. So I get something to eat for tomorrow. But anyway, I'm going to share with you guys what I experienced today. It's very, very interesting what happened. Yeah, it's an eye opener. I need to learn more and more about life. And before I left, I gave a prayer. And what I prayed about, well, I always give a word of protection over me and my little babies here, my little fur balls. And I also added in my prayer that that I'll be a blessing to someone and that they be a blessing to me. Mutualness. And when I left my apartment, then got out of the elevator, I was blessed by someone's story. Well, as I was walking towards the door, I just walked a couple of feet away from the elevator, to exit, and I thought I heard someone speak to me. So I turned around and I see it's this guy. I haven't seen him in ages, who lives in my complex. And then he responded. He might have actually been talking on his phone. He had a Bluetooth, but I thought he might have been talking to me. But then he started talking to me. He introduces himself. Now let me add who this person is. I'm not going to get names or anything like that, but he shared that he's from southern Sudan, a Christian background. Also, the young man is blind. And he shared with me, I thought was something very, very interesting. And here, people from South Sudan are black people. And let me tell you what happened. Now, he speaks English beautifully. I think he's been in the country now for 11 years. Oh no, maybe he's in, wait a minute. Yes, I think he's in the U.S. for 11 years, and he moved to our building in 2017. He shared with me that he was not born blind, but he became blind, and that it was a real sensitive issue how he became blind. And then he just opened up. and told me. And he told it very boldly. And he said that he was, now I forget the, the a lot of details to the story. Because I was just in amazement. And sometimes when you hear stories that are so unusual, it's kind of overwhelming. But either way, he shared that he was a slave, or he became enslaved. And I think later on he was adopted. But at one point, as a child, he became enslaved. And his job was to take care of goats or something like that. And something happened. He made a mistake about something. He's a child. And taught, they physically harmed him. And get this, they blinded him. They actually blinded him. They put pepper in his eyes, some type of pepper or red pepper, something like that, in his eyes, and it later resulted in an infection, and it damaged his nerves, something in his eye, something like that, and he became blind. But he did have, in the past, 2 surgeries, some operation on his eye. It took a little bit, and then his body rejected the component in his eye, and they had, did it twice. And he said that it was very depressing. But this guy, he is bold. I mean, I remember seeing him, and I was a little nervous to approach him. In my building, there's not a lot of black people, and I didn't really know how to approach him, and him being blind. But see, he's very mobile. He's a young fellow, probably in his late 20s, I would imagine. But he travels all over, on buses everywhere. He goes out of state. I forget what place he went to, but he went far. He travels by himself. And sometimes I feel afraid to travel. I mean, I've traveled alone before, but sometimes I feel afraid to go certain places because of certain things. But here he's blind. And how is he able to navigate? It's amazing. It is amazing. Yes, hello there, viewer. I welcome you to say hello in the chat room. Yes, this is going to be an interesting live stream. Yes, this is, I think, very important. What I find fascinating about this person is that, hey, good evening, yes. Yeah, Miss Vine Rose, yes. I'll call you Rose. Yes, welcome to this live stream. Yes, this is going to be and is a very interesting live stream. The topic. Yes, I don't know when exactly it came on, but I was just discussing an individual I met today, officially, a young man in my building from Southern Sudan. Southern Sudan is predominantly Christian, and North Sudan is Muslim. And the North is attacking the South, and that he was a slave. Okay, this guy is in his 20s, probably about in his 20s, and he was a modern day African slave. The Muslims have taken over, and they're abusing the people in Southern Sudan. See, people make labels. Yeah, we talked a little bit about religion. He asked me what my religion was. And I told him, I said, well, I want to be honest. And I told him, because I think he said, before he asked me what I was, he said that he, um, something about Christian, or that he lived in a Christian place. But I told him, I said, I used to follow Christianity, but no longer. I don't believe God is in the book, and I'm interested in spirituality rather than religion. And we started just talking, and he shared just really exciting spiritual concepts. I wish I were able to be more specific, but it was amazing to hear him speak, and that even though he was enslaved. I do not know how long he was a slave, how he got out of slavery, how he got out of the Sudan. I think he lived in other countries before coming to the U.S. And then he wants to be an advocate for the blind from his country, and set up an organization to help to teach the blind people in South Sudan. The blind people there. And I think he'll be able to do it. And he spoke really, really intelligent. And he says that he's on a spiritual walk also, and that he doesn't have any hatred for the person that enslaved him and tortured him and blinded him. And I thought that took a lot of courage. That took a lot of courage to say that you don't hate your oppressor. Yes, hello, new viewer. Yes, good evening, good evening. Yes, I met someone who was enslaved, and his job was to take care of goats or sheep or something like that, and he made a mistake about something with the goats, and his so-called owner blinded him. Awful. I hope he gets restitution. But he's an incredible human being. He walks confident. When I first met him, he was walking real brazen in the street, very, very confident, almost arrogant, almost. It was amazing, and he's walking and confident, with those the cane. What do you call it? The white stick, for the blind. Yeah, amazing. And amazing that he doesn't use his blindness for a handicap. And he just goes for it. He's just so happened to be blind. That's his mindset. And if he wants to go somewhere, he goes. And he was even visiting someone from my building. He's in a building next to ours. And he shook my hand, and he was very polite, soft-spoken, and he has a gentle spirit. The first Sudanese man that I met, I met a Sudanese woman before, but he has a gentle heart. a gentle way about him. Yeah, it was amazing. And he dresses very nice, very neat. Yeah, but I'm just really amazed. And so it really puts in perspective about America and its history of slavery. Look at this. No one really here in the United States was born in slavery, right? But why in America is it so much chaos amongst the descendants of slaves? Being a descendant and being a slave are two separate things. Let me repeat. You have people who are descendants of slaves versus those who were slaves, and they're not the same thing. Why is America, blacks of the Americas, why do we act like we're still in slavery? Why aren't we thriving the way I think we should? And I say that to myself as well. Why is there so much pain involved for the children of the former enslaved? Why are we hurting? Here I'm meeting a modern day slave, a modern day slave, someone who was enslaved and then was tortured. I should say he was, eyes were mutilated. They had put pepper in his eyes in punishment because he was to take care of the goat, something with the goat or sheep that he was responsible for. It's cruelty. Cruelty. Yeah, we started talking about religion in general. That, he said, yes, religion is man-made. The different religions are man-made. And why, we start to fight each other. Yeah, he said it was an awareness that came over him about the distinction between Islam and Christianity. That because he couldn't understand why the guy's religion who enslaved him was Islam, why something about so just because he's not of that religion, that it's okay to treat people certain ways just because of religion. And it opened up his eyes, so to speak. And he decides to embrace spirituality and not to be hateful, but to transform his experiences. And I thought that took great courage. I mean, this guy is sharing me his story. How many people will come and tell you their personal stories? And I told him that I had my a stroller of my little dogs. And it turns out he loves dogs. And that he wants to get a dog as a what do you call it, support animal, for emotional support dog. And he asked where I got mine. I told him the area where I got mine, but you have to pay. It's where I got them. You have to pay, but there are places where you can adopt and just pay a small fee. And I told him where he can go for that. And he said, well, he said, if one day would he be able to pet my dogs? So I was thinking, you know, we're not guaranteed tomorrow. That's what I was thinking. I said, you know, you can pet my dog right now. I said, you're here right now. I'm standing here. You could, you could do so now. And so I placed his hands, over, where the dogs were, so he could pet them. And he was so grateful. And so I'm happy that I was able to fulfill a desire of his to pet some little dogs. And how amazing must be, I've never been blind before, and to be able to pet something and feel, because see, he's using different senses of his. It's like because your eye, can't use your eyes, other senses of him are heightened. I would imagine his sense of touch, I would imagine, is more detailed. So that's how he's navigating a lot of times, right? Just feeling things, maybe to hear a certain way. Maybe he can hear more distinctively. So I was happy that I was able to grant him that wish. Yeah, there's no guarantee of anything. As I said, yeah, you could touch him right now. Yeah. So I wanted to share that. I think it was amazing that here, a modern day slave, he's not robbing anyone, he's not cursing out anyone, but you have people now who's never been enslaved, who is not blind or become blinded because someone mutilated your eye, your vision. How many people could say that happened to them? So how is that this man is acting with humanity and many of us aren't? Yet we weren't enslaved. We weren't ever maimed in the eyes. So I see that I'm dealing with a remarkable human being. I really like this spiritual component and the things he was sharing with me. And I'm thinking, I like to give him my phone number. Yeah, so I gave him my phone number. Yeah, he knows how to use a smartphone. I didn't really know how to use his phone. He has the newer phone. My phone has the little home button. The new model doesn't have that, so I didn't know how to change the thing. So, but I was able to do some navigation on it, and he was able to get it. um, yeah, in part of my prayer before I left my apartment with my dogs, I said I want to meet people, and that I want to be blessed and be a blessing to others. And lo and behold, here I met this individual. And I was curious about him because I knew he was something different. I knew he was an African of some type, um, but a remarkable person, totally unselfish. And here he says he wants to be an advocate, do activism, and helping his blind people from the country where he's from. So he still wants to give back. And I just thought this was, excuse me, something so unselfish of him. I was amazed with him. And I want to meet, see, I don't have a lot of friends, but I think it's more important that you have quality friends. If you're going to have a friend, make sure they're quality people. You have a lot of people, they might have a lot of people around them, but they're not friends. I remember this one performer, um, he was an actor, and he had all these people hanging out with him. And then when he announced that he had cancer, they stopped coming over. and they abandoned him. Hey, Nubian. Yeah, hey, yes, it's good to hear from you. I'm glad that you're on. Yeah, a lot of times I don't get notification either, and but I'm glad that you're on Nubian. I was just sharing a story of a South Sudanese man who was an actual slave. Yes, good. Yes, yes. Thank you. Yes, I miss you too. Yes, yeah. I shared this story. I met today, officially met today, South Sudanese man who was enslaved. And now I don't know whether he was born in slavery in Sudan, but he at least was one, and that his so-called owner got angry with him. He was in charge of the sheep or goats or something. I don't know, I don't remember what happened, but his punishment, part of his punishment that I could remember was that they blinded him. They put pepper in his eyes and he became blind. And he talked about how, he's learned that he had someone could call himself a religion. It was his oppressor was a Muslim, and he in South Sudan is predominantly Christian, and it's the North that's attacking the South. Yes, so the North seemed to be sponsored by Arabs, and Southern Sudan at one time was, colonized by Europeans. But yet the Europeans are not providing arms or whatever to protect themselves, to protect the people. You know what I'm saying? That hey, that was your colony. Britain has links with this place, and you see the people being bombarded by the Islamic North, and they're not providing weapons so that the so-called Christian South could protect themselves. So here, Arab Muslims are protecting the northern Sudanese, but the European Christian community is not supporting the Christian South Sudanese. So religion was his excuse to enslave and then to blind him because he made some mistake. Amazing. Religion, and so the guy started thinking, how could this happen to him? How could religion be a factor in becoming enslaved and then blinded because of religion? So it awakened him, he said. And he's on his spiritual journey now, like myself. He was amazing, and I wanted to be able to keep in contact, so I gave him my phone number because I wanted to keep in contact. Yeah. So unselfish, this individual. And he walks like he can see. Yeah, his eyes are white. His cataract, the whole thing is white. Yeah, he can't see. But he walks so boldly and he travels the country. Yeah, I have to plug in this device, the thing. It's got low battery, so let me put in the battery. Yeah, it's an amazing story. This is a modern day slave. a modern day person, but yet he's not walking around with his pants hanging down. He's not um, cursing anybody, using the N word. He's not wallowing in his mess. He was a slave, period. Yeah, he's not gone. I mean, he's living in America now. He's been in the U.S. since, well, he moved to my building, where I live, 2017. So that's just a couple of years ago. Yeah, I have to plug this thing in. The battery's getting low. Let me just get the battery in. Plug it back in. Just take a sec. Sorry. Oops, sorry about this. Trying to navigate. Okay, I plugged it in. Okay, sorry about that. Oh, sorry. Let me fix that. Okay, so I just had to reposition myself now. Yeah. So here, this is an amazing individual. How old is he? He's probably in his 20s. He was blinded by his oppressor in 2004. 2004. So that's uh, 18 years ago. Yeah, I think he's in his 20s. He looks young. Yeah, this is 2004. So in 2004, slavery was being done upon a child. Modern day slave. Yeah, they had something like in what's that country? I think Morocco, or the country right below Morocco. Yeah, you have some areas like they're abusing the labor of more like you have North Africans who are mixed with Arabic or Berber with African, and then you have the ones that's just African, and the mixed ones are mistreating the African, the ones that are just black African mix, black African background. It's awful. Yeah, I really don't feel safe. I've been in Africa when I was in the military, in Egypt, but there's still biases that happen. Wow, slavery is still happening. That is so insane. Yeah. Yeah, in 2004, he was blinded. And so I was mentioning, I don't understand why in the Americas you have people who are descendants of people who had been enslaved. Being a descendant of someone was slave and being a slave are two separate things. He was, I don't know whether he was born into slavery, but he was a slave and then tortured. Yes. And so I don't understand how this young man, well, he's not living in the country of his abuse, but that he is transformed spiritually. He's not letting it bug him. he said that he realized that a religion is in essence teaching one person that you can do certain things to people. So he pretty much also he's not into religion, but but spirituality. It transformed him. It got him thinking about what is. So it's amazing his transformation. Just this what he's telling me was, I thought, really deep. What about his family? Good question. I don't know about his family. Yeah, we just had a chance meeting today. I was leaving the elevator with my dogs, and I thought someone was talking to me. So I turned around, and I said, um, turning around, then I see it was him. I said, "Oh, well, were you asking me something?" And then the next thing, he started just talking to me. He introduced himself. And, we were both on our way. He was going back to his apartment, and I was going outside to walk my dogs. It was amazing. And I had prayed before I left to go outside that I'll be a blessing to someone and I'll be blessed too. And I was blessed to be able to speak to someone like him. And learning about, people. See, in America, we always talk about what so and so did to you, and we just in shock. Here, this person lived it, became tortured and blinded. In him, we're not free. We're not emotionally free. Here, this guy is free. This guy is blind. This guy goes out in New York City, and he goes out of state. He knows how to travel on a bus to another state. He travels America by himself. I said, you have like an assistant or something? He says, no, I go by myself. I said, really? I said, I'm kind of scared to go to places by myself. And you go by yourself and you're blind? I said, I am amazed. I said to myself, I have to give this guy my telephone number. I want to keep in touch with that. See, I believe, I like, I want the people who I want around me. I want people who have some type of character, people who I can learn from. Amazing. Amazing what he can teach. And he's a young guy. Yeah, he's an amazing individual. The spirituality that was coming from him. I'm just trying to move something. Mm. Oh. Mm. Sorry. Yeah, the individual was amazing. And so I feel I got my wish. I was protected. Nothing bad happened to me going outside, and uh, someone was a blessing to me, and I was a blessing to him. Yeah, because I told him I had my dogs, and they were in the stroller. And he said, oh, one day I would love to pet your dogs. So I'm thinking, well, there's no guarantee of tomorrow. I said, hey, you can touch my dog now. Yeah. Because he wants to get a dog one day as a support animal. Yeah. And I told him places where he could adopt a dog. So it'll be really interesting if once he gets a dog. Yeah, he had a very compassionate soul. Yeah. I think a lot of things that happens here in America and throughout um, the Americas, that it's a psychological warfare. Even though institutionalized slavery, that form of, chattel slavery had changed, but there's a psychological warfare upon uh, people here. While this Southern Sudanese person, he physically left that country. And again, I don't know about his family. It was just a conversation that led from one thing to another. Um, but I don't know about uh, what happened to his family or anything like that. That would be interesting to find out. Yeah, um, probably, probably an interesting story, but it really puts a perspective on forgiveness and, events happen to people. Why are the events that happen here in America, why is it so different? And so this leads me to the next part of this conversation, what topics that I wanted to talk about. Um, I want to next talk about blacks in Russia. Yeah, this was the second time I saw this documentary on YouTube about during this what they call the Soviet Union in the 1930s. You had American blacks, they were men, and they had college degrees, and they couldn't get work in America during the 1930s. But the U.S. government gave them a government contract to go to Russia. And they stayed. And they married local women and they had children. And this documentary was about these people. They interviewed several people, men and women. And it was kind of lopsided. I mean, I enjoyed the channel. I mean, the documentary. The documentary was made by Russian TV, so of course they're going to have their own spin to um, that the U.S. is bad and Russia is good, and it showed during the 1930s there was a movie made about a white woman who had a black child, and uh, they're trying to attack her, and she goes in this circus. There was I guess a circus going on, and she's sneaked in to try to protect herself and her child. The child was a toddler and was wrapped in a blanket to protect the child. And then they had a German soldier, a Nazi, uh, pl- uh, trying to attack the child and the mom, and making fun of the baby, the black child. And then they passed the baby um, in protection, and the people in the spectators of the circus were each holding the baby and singing a lullaby to the baby in solidarity that this child deserves a right to be at peace, and in argument to the Nazi German. I never, I thought it was very, very bold for its day. And it made me feel like a lot of things that you see in the media, it's all, I feel, I don't know, it just seems like an act. I mean, so what someone looks like? You're going to hate someone because of their skin color? What about hair color or eye color? Or what about your height? What about your weight? See, it puts stigma on people. And the real stigma is those people who throw it on upon you. Yeah, the movie also talked about it went to like a full circle. Like for example, you had black Americans, primarily black men, who had a contract to go to Russia, and they decided to stay. And in curiosity, some of them came back to, I think their children came to America to visit. And then they wind up coming back to Russia. And she said that the granddaughter said that there was an incident that happened. It was a little confusing, but she just said that she ran to the cops for help. And instead of helping her, she became a victim, and that they slammed her to the ground. And now she has a fear of cops. Just see a comment. We have been going through, listen, we have been going through that in the USA. We are not liked because of our skin color. What does that? Yeah, I know. It's an excuse. See, it's like a rape victim, a woman that gets raped, and they say, "Oh well, if she didn't wear what she wore, she wouldn't have gotten raped." It's blaming the victim rather than the person, the abuser. Our skin color has nothing to do with forcing labor, but that is the excuse to identify a group, and so that group will perpetually be a second-class citizen. Yeah, it's not my fault. Our skin is a blessing. We are the blessing. And if someone's going to hate somebody, it's just all BS. I see through it. So, going back with the movie. So the girl now is terrified of cops. And here she was in trouble. She went to the cop for help. It kind of reminded me what happened to me in November of last year when I got assaulted by that lady that I told you about. I got the cops to come right away, and they they apprehended the woman, the assaulter. And then the cop, when I say I want her arrested and press charges, and that she had attacked other people, they didn't want to hear it. And he got angry at me and said, "Well, where's the blood?" "There's no blood," referring to me. And the Hispanic cop. There were 3 white cops, all male, and then the 4th cop was a Hispanic female. And she was just as nasty. "Well, where's the blood? Is there any blood?" Oh, really? Let someone do that to those cops and ask, "Oh, is there any blood on you?" It's very insensitive. So I understand about fear. And so this woman goes back to Russia. And when she returned to Russia, she's talking to one of her white Russians there. And these cops started to walk towards her. And she became afraid. She felt fear when she saw them approaching. And the friend said, "Oh, this is my friend. She's Russian, and she was living in America, and she came back home." And then she added in the story, when the cops left, they came back right away and gave her flowers and said, "Welcome home." Now that's an amazing story. If that's what happened, that's an amazing story. That's a beautiful story. So here was it was like a 180-degree turn. They left America because of racism, lived and had their children in Russia, came back to the America, and then now coming back to Russia. And then being approached by cops, they were just curious who she was because, she's doesn't, her skin, she looks a little different than other people. And when they saw that she's actually family, so to speak, a fellow Russian, they gave her flowers. And I thought that was a very beautiful story. Yeah. So yes, Russian TV channel. Of course, they're gonna spin it, make it very pro-Russian. But hey, you could it is what it is, propaganda. But um, I do like the fact that they were good to her. And the last thing I want to talk about. So I saw that today on Russia, and then I saw a Marcus Garvey film, a documentary about him. This was the first time I ever heard uh, more in detail about him. What made that organization fall? I mean, it was highly successful, but I think what made him fall, I think there was a lot of jealousy. There was a lot of jealousy within the organization, and they pulled him down. Um, like he started a ship, a luxury ship. See, back in the 1910, I mean 1919, um, you had ships that blacks could go on, but even if they paid for a first class ticket, they won't get a first class service. They weren't allowed, so they were still segregating because of your race. So he said, let us get something that we could use. So he eventually started 3 ship lines for blacks to use, but it was infiltrated. The FBI infiltrated the organization he started and infiltrated the people who were to run the ship. And then ultimately, it was just people were sabotaging him. And what got him was alleged mail fraud. And they showed the envelope that some I don't know exactly what it was. It cost $25, but from that envelope. So I think out of everything, that was that one item, one envelope, as evidence, and he was to do 5 years prison time. But when they saw that his popularity, like his health was declining in jail, and the U.S. government thought if he dies in jail, he'll become a martyr, and that might hurt the situation more. So the president of the United States pardoned him. He did 2 years and 9 months, and the government pardoned him, but they said you can't stay in the U.S. and they brought him back to Jamaica. It was interesting that I liked I liked the essence of his message, Marcus Garvey. Um, I mean, I've heard of Marcus Garvey, but I didn't feel really confident in him. I think possibly my own biases that he was someone born in another country, and I would like to see people from here start movements. Even Malcolm X. Malcolm X's background is also from the Caribbean. Well, his mother. His father was an American. And Malcolm, what do you call it, the Nation of Islam and Martin Luther King Jr., both of those organizations utilized a lot of the doctrines from the Marcus Garvey movement, according to this documentary. So I thought that was really something. Really, really something. I wish something more positive could come out. I mean, there are a lot of, mm, yeah, it's a lot of things that just, if it's not your time, it's like there's a strong hand that's really ruling America that's preventing anything to change the system. Mm. Oh, that it was his secretary. Oh wow. Yeah, they didn't like him. Yeah, and I was also impressed that he had the people in his organization to wear uniforms, and even in public on the train or the bus, they were all issued uniforms. And I think that psychologically intimidated people. Yeah. Okay. We have too many traders in our community. P. Try try and make it better. Yeah. I'm glad I saw the documentary because I really didn't know a lot about him. I knew basically he was trying to motivate blacks to think better of themselves, and he wanted to start businesses. But I didn't know that he had um, people from 22 countries that supported him. 22 countries. I didn't realize how big it was. Yeah, it potentially was really, really something. But the powers at large is saying no. See, why even have us here in America if we can't do anything? Or just have us leave. He wanted to start something in Africa. They could, it's like, if you don't want us here, then let's go somewhere else. But then that was being sabotaged. It's about control. The system wants to control everything about us. But this just reminds me of something. I listened to this program called Far Sight. They're on YouTube and they also have their own website. They do remote viewing. And their latest video, remote viewing session, was about the 2023-24 election. And it looks very, very problematic. I mean, very dangerous. Uh, Mentions something about possibly a nuclear device being sent, destruction. I feel, yeah, I hope they're wrong. I hope they're wrong, but I think that it's a possibility that could happen. Something is building up. And I think the system wants to, if it can have its all its way, all or nothing. I I pray that the I hope that a remote viewing session is wrong, but if it's right, I I I feel I want to leave before then. Yeah, I don't feel good. I don't feel confident about the next election. For the presidency here, I feel I don't feel confident with the system. I love my country. I love my country, but does it love you back? I mean, this is the this is a really a fantastic country if you can get out the corruption. But if this remote viewing session is accurate about the nuclear explosion in D.C., I want out. I don't want to stay here. Yeah, even before learning, watching that recent um, remote viewing session with the Farsight organization, that's how I feel like. Things are changing here. And just because you're born somewhere doesn't mean you have to stay there. You don't have to stay. Yeah, I don't know. Let me see what you're saying here. What you're saying. Okay, you're saying, Nubian says, you need to go check out Ding, Ding Calloway about the untold truth about King, all involved, all involved in the assassination publicly came out on YouTube. Oh, I heard about it. I heard about some with the what happened beyond, um, there's someone was interviewed. Yeah, he was infiltrated also, King. Yeah, they were all infiltrated. And the FBI was behind a lot of the melee. Let's see here. Yes, I wanted to leave last year. Want to go to Ghana or Kenya. Yes, Dick Gregory told it all. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I feel things are happening. Yeah, people are out of their mind. The government, I mean, I love my country, but things are going on that doesn't make sense. And I want to position myself in an area where that I could I want to be safe. I want to be able to walk my dogs in safety. That's what I want. Mm. Yeah, have you heard of Farsight Nubia? Have you heard of Farsight, that organization? Yeah, it's a they teach remote viewing, and they do come on YouTube also. I'm subscribed to them, so they give like a full detailed session on their website you have to pay for it to get access. Sometimes they show a snippet of it on YouTube and like a trailer. And if you want to see, you go to their website and you pay for a subscription. Let's see. Okay, you're saying yes. The use has demonic people running it. Yeah, interested that you say that. Demonic people running it. Did I tell you, Nubian, that I did a meditation session early last week, and I saw um, the reptilian. What it looked like a it was a man. To me it looked like a male, There were five people, two on one side and about three on the other, and they were in robes. But the one that looked like it looked like an alligator. You know what the head of an alligator looked like? That's what his looked like. His face and his body, had a big chest. I saw that. He was wearing a red cape with a hood on. And it's interesting because, what was that now? Because I had that vision last week, and after that vision, something on YouTube mentioned, that organization that does remote viewing, they saw the same thing. He was drawing it like on their website. When they have the full show that you subscribe to, you pay to see. And one of the drawings, the head was what I saw. So I'm wondering, I'm speculating, I can only speculate. I'm speculating that something is being organized. Something is being organized now. And maybe that's why I saw it. Maybe because again, I wasn't meditating to see that. I was just clearing my mind and relaxing, and boom, it came to my vision. Yeah, yep. They mentioned it. They mentioned that the reptile looking person is the one that's calling the shots on the thing that's may happen in 2000, what is that? 2023, I'm sorry, 2024, 25. Yeah, maybe what's happening that it was something that was very strong at the time, and maybe my mind just picked it up. Those reptiles are real. That guy David Icke was telling the truth. I saw it with my meditation eyes. I did. I saw. I mean, I would think that if someone told me 10 years ago that they saw something in a vision, I would think that they're lying. But now you having other people that are seeing things, and they're seeing the same thing. Those reptile things are real. So-called space aliens, or maybe they live under the ground. They're more than just people on this planet. You got other beings. And look at this other YouTuber. Like I watch Fleur Brune sometimes. The YouTuber. They said that they had. She has a backup channel, and they had blocked her something. They did something against her account. So that could explain why she wasn't putting out the videos. But yeah, so now she says she has her backup channel, and I found it by accident because when I typed in her name, I saw, when I get to her channel, a lot of the videos are missing. Yeah, a lot of them. I don't know whether she removed it or they did. They're all gone. And she doesn't curse on her videos. She uses code names, and they're censoring her. This is so un-American, unconstitutional. You have freedom of speech, and you just at random saying, you can't say certain things. She doesn't say anything evil. Yes, because they don't. Yeah, they don't want the truth out. Yeah, they don't want the truth out. Yeah, you have to get the truth yourself. Yeah, and I would just suggest meditating people. I'm not here to tell you what religion you're to belong to or what church, synagogue, mosque, temple, whatever, for you to go to. Only thing I'm saying is the God is in you, and that you could tap onto information. Books are great. I have tons of books here in my home, but you can get direct revelation, people. You, man and woman, can get direct revelation knowledge through meditation. I challenge you all to try it. You know, and for you to see for yourself what's going on. Test it. Test it. Ask yourself questions. If there is God, have God teach you what you need to know. Have God protect you. But I don't want to belong to any organizations that's going to tell me how to think to my destruction. Okay, you're saying, did you know about the movie that was supposed to come out called Gray State? They killed the creator and his family because they don't want the movie to come out to the Oh, what is? No, I haven't heard that. The Gray State. Is that what a Fleur was talking about something about gray something. Just before I did this live stream, I was watching one of her videos, new videos from her backup channel. I will send you the trail. Okay, yeah, do so. Yeah, do so. Yeah, you people out here, um, you have a right to know. You have a right to know for you. And yes, any scripture could, if it edifies you, continue. But isn't it more exciting that you can get direct information about things by meditating, getting to see things? I would have thought that what I'm saying was crazy 20, 30 years ago. I was as common could be. I was told in church that meditation was evil. You know why they say that? Because they don't want you to have direct revelation knowledge. They want you to stay in the fishbowl. They want you to think the world is everything in that fishbowl. And it's not so. And I tell you this, it could be spooky. But just because something might look different than you doesn't make it evil. Evil is what people do. Evil is not a look. Looks are subjective. You might think certain looks are okay, and certain looks may not be okay with you. But the real test is what they do to you. What do people do? Yeah. So they want you to believe that certain people are good and others are bad. And they're all preparing for that big day. It eventually has to come out. I'm not the only one that does meditation. I'm so there's a many people out there who meditate. I'm a beginner, really. And if I'm seeing these things, I saw spacecrafts during a meditation. I saw some type of being in another, the same day that I saw the moon, and then I guess the alien of that moon, and then now the recent one was the reptile, and it was wearing a red cape. They were all wearing capes, with the hoods. I believe there's something sinister going on. That they're holding secret meetings. David Icke was correct about these beings. He was correct. They exist, but I don't know whether they exist, whether they live underground or whether from another planet. That I don't know. But they control here. They have a lot of control. And so when you watch all these things on American TV, it's just to divide us. They want a race war here. Don't give it to them. Don't give it. Because they're going to just destroy us all. And that's what it's meant to do. They want to get black people excited and to to start a war. And once we get killed, then they're going to, they're just using us. I don't want to be a part of this fight. I don't want it. I think there are other things so much more important. They want us fixated on how to make more money, how to do this, how to do that. But it's nothing about service. People aren't talking to each other anymore. People are talking to a computer. They talk on the phone, but they're not talking to people one-on-one. They're making you dependent on these devices. I love watching videos. But I also want to talk to people. It's about people. It's about family. It's about your community. It's us that's important, not things. You can always replace things. Yeah. You can always replace things. It's about people. It's about service to other people. We all need each other. Yeah, I'm glad you think so. Thanks, Nubian. Yeah, this really is a great country if you get its act together. It really, you can't really go to other places as a woman, as a single woman, to go to other places in the Americas. Because, see, there's a lot of places that don't like women. They don't want you to be independent of a man. When I was in the military, I went, one of the ports that we went to was Marseille, France. And there's a section in Marseille that has a lot of North Africans who are, generally what they call Arab Muslims. And, I was assaulted. One hit me in my chest. He shoved me. When I went into, it was a bakery, and I went with another person from my ship that we work on. We were covered. I mean, this is France, not Africa, but in France, southern France, in Marseille. And I noticed when we came in, they looked kind of mean. And my friend, didn't make any scene, whatever. She just pointed, and Like, I didn't like how they served her, but I just thought, oh, it's my imagination. And I pointed to what I wanted, and they picked up the wrong one. I said, not that one, this one. And they got angry, and then they shoved my chest. They came up from behind the cash machine, cash register, and they did that to me. And I've raised my hand and said, don't you dare touch me. Some people believe that women should be at home. He didn't approve of us being out there. It was only maybe no later than 8 p.m. And you have that. Yet some places women really don't have freedom to even go to school. In the United States of America, we can go to school if we want to. We can walk outside if you want to. There's some general freedoms that as a single woman can enjoy. Yes, we have to be careful at times, but at least the law is on our side when it works properly. I lived in the Caribbean, but nothing is like America. It just has to get its act together. Okay, you're saying, okay, yes, they do, even in this day and time. Yeah, yeah. A lot of us, when you go outside of the U.S., you're going to see that there's limitations put on women. Here, at least on paper, rights of women. In these other countries in Africa, or even in part of the West Indies or Latin America, you don't have freedom as a woman. There's some areas where there's what they call spousal abuse, where the main person who's targeted are women. It's insane, but it's true. So I love this country, but it's falling apart. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. Yeah, a lot of places like in Saudi Arabia, at one point, they couldn't even drive. They weren't allowed to drive. I think the law changed in 2017. They have a new leader now in Saudi Arabia. But yeah, it's tight out there. So yeah, so I mentioned those three stories. I mentioned the story about what was the first story I gave? I talked about the blacks in Russia. I talked about the Sudanese fellow that was enslaved, and then the job he was doing um, in 2004, that his so-called owner blinded him with pepper. You have a modern day former slave living in New York City and doing better than the children of the former enslaved. Amazing. Amazing. Well, thank you for listening. Those of you who didn't get the first part of the video, you could just play back the beginning to hear the story about the guy from South Sudan that I met today who lives in my building, and he shared me a story about him being a slave. They're slaving their own people, but they're using religion as a means to segregate. In the U.S., we use so-called race. Well, in his country, they use religion. It's just another divisive, man-made concept. Yeah. It's about people. You think if people really learn how to meditate and see all the different worlds and people, you think it's really important what color someone's skin is? What about the reptile? You think people having dark skin? What about people with a mouth like an alligator? So you're gonna give more respect to an alligator face? I mean, I'm serious. That's what it looked like. It had the face of an alligator or crocodile type of thing. Yep, I saw it, and it was wearing a red hood, a robe with a red hood. I mean, it was a red robe with a hood attached to it. Yeah, there's something going on. You're going to see things. You're going to realize that black people are not your enemy. Yeah, there's something out there that's manipulating all of us. And ultimately, everyone is being jeopardized by this creature, regardless of your race, color, national origin. It's an enemy of all of us. And they're waging war with you and using others to do the battles. Be very careful. Don't try not being deceived, and learn how to meditate and ask for your creator, higher power, to give you direct revelation knowledge. So with that, I want to thank you for this live stream. And those of you who like this content and want to support my channel, you could PayPal me. Just go on my link that's on my channel, Spirit Journey channel. On the banner's right side, you see my PayPal me link. Just click on it, follow the prompt, and any amount would be greatly appreciated. I appreciate you. I thank you for your support. Peace, love, and joy to you all. Take care. Bye-bye.